It's great to see you again.
Yeah, it's been a while, but I'm so pleased to see your face. So
Oh,
good. Yeah.
it's the feeling is totally mutual. I'm so excited. We have so much to dive into today.
Hey, well, let's dive. Okay, I've got my trunks on and my.
Perfect. Um, I just want to start. I mean, I want to ask you, looking back at your career, what has changed about how you approach a role?
Hmm. Well, I'm always trying to figure out new ways to approach a role. I still go to acting class every Saturday and put up scenes 3 or 4 times a year, and accept the criticism along those lines and I try to figure out new ways to approach a role all the time. When I started out in 1971 or two, starting to act, and I didn't really want to be an actor. I wanted to be an architect, and some things happened that caused me to become an actor. But as soon as I decided to do that, I said, okay, I'm going to go all in on this, and I'm going to learn how to do it. And then I realized that there's no way to learn how to do it. After years and years and years of studying, and I still study, it still remains completely elusive to me that this craft. Um, I'm always trying to figure out new ways to develop characters and it's the thing about, I was trained as a character actor for the stage, and I spent years doing that. And then when I started doing film, film's a whole different thing. They kind of want you just to walk around and be yourself. And and that's not what I trained for. That's not what I signed up for. I signed up to be an actor and to learn how to create characters and flesh out three-dimensional characters, etc. Uh, so I've kind of been at odds with that sort of, that people want you to be the same thing every time if you're going to be in the movies, but at the same time, I don't want to do that. So I got to figure out a happy medium between the two somehow. And I've been very fortunate. I've played a lot of interesting characters. So yeah, but it's always a challenge.
It's incredible your range. I mean, I was a huge fan of LA Law when it was on the air, and now to watch everything you've done and Mayfair Witches, and you've got such an incredible range.
Well,
Is
thank
is there anything that you haven't tackled yet that you would like to?
You mean in terms of a kind of character or something like that? Well, here's the thing. I've never been a cowboy, and I've never been a soldier. Um, and I've only played a doctor once, and that was for Shameless. And I was really not much of a doctor in that, though I did go up to John Wells, who had done ER, and he was doing Shameless. And I said, "Oh my God, John," because I was a doctor, and then I had to say one sentence of medical jargon, just one sentence of medical jargon, and then I realized how hard that was because it's not my wheelhouse. And I said to John, "Oh my God, I have such respect for all the actors who worked on ER because they had to say this every day and they had to say whole paragraphs of it. They just had to say one line, all that gobbledygook that they have to say in medical dramas. It's like, I don't know. But I guess I've always wanted to be a cowboy. I've always wanted to, why not pull out the John Wayne, I've never done that.
I love that. I feel like maybe with your cooking show we can get a little subway action in there.
I don't know how that blends in with John Wayne, but maybe, I can make a pretty mean batch of beans, which is pretty much what they ate on the trail. So yeah.
It's harder. Is it the acting or the cooking?
Oh, well, neither one is particularly hard, I can tell you. I love cooking and I love acting. So that, whenever I get a chance to do either one of those things, particularly if it's pleasing, if I can put a smile on someone's face, yeah, that makes my day. But no, I try not to do anything that's difficult. Um, so, I mean, I guess most things could be, but I just like to do stuff that's fun. And I guess I can make things easy if I practice at it enough. But, yeah.
I am curious to know, looking at your roster of characters, if you look at your role in LA Law or Mad Men or Shameless, which one of these characters would make the best dinner guest and why?
Hmm. Which one of these? I don't think Jim Cutler from Mad Men, he wouldn't be any fun at dinner. No. And I think the guy I played on Shameless, yeah, depending upon who else was at the dinner, that could be really fun. Uh, and Michael Cusack from LA Law, he was just too busy all the time. I don't think he would have made a good dinner guest. But the guy from Shameless, and I don't remember the name of the character that I played, but he was a guy who was married, but he was also gay and he liked young boys and probably, in the right circumstance, he would be a barrel of fun at a party, before he got arrested.
I would love to see all of Harry Hamlin's characters at a dinner party. That is what I would want a seat at that table for sure.
Oh, well, let's see. Hmm, okay. Which one? Which one mostly?
Ooh, I mean, Cortland would be cool, but I would be a little frightened. And I feel like I would have to go back to Michael. I feel like I'd have to go back to LA Law because that was how I was first introduced to you.
But he was a nice guy. Michael Cusack, he was a good guy. He was the guy in the white hat in that show, I guess, It's always good to play a hero. And, I did that for 5 years, and I guess he was a hero. Um, and he was, of all of the characters I've played, Michael Cusack was the closest to the vest of who in other words, I didn't stray too far from who I am as a person to get to that character, but somewhat. I mean, it's not who I am, but it's nothing like Jim Cutler from Mad Men or the character Cortland is totally different, So yeah, I mean,
Well, I was gonna say I really want to get into Cortland because he is what is the most fun part about playing a character that is so deliciously complex?
the season two, a little bit of that complexity kind of went out the window in season two. Season three, it's going to come back. Um, I don't know how much you've seen of season two, whether you saw the whole thing or not. And if you did, then you know that I'm actually playing a couple of characters toward the end of it. And that was really delicious and fun for me to try to clone Ted Levine, who's it's such a wonderful actor and he's got such a great vibe. And and then when I found out that I was actually going to that where he was going to become Cortland and I was going to have to be him, I was like, okay, how do I pull this off? All right, okay, so um, I don't want to beat it over the head too much, but I want it to be too subtle at the same time, and so it was, yeah, that was complex. That was a little, toward the end, it was complicated. At the beginning of the season, they wanted me to be contrite. I guess for some reason they didn't want me to be as mean as I had been at the end of season one. I went along with that, but at the end, I said, "Come on, guys, Cortland is more fun than this," and I think the audience agreed with that. So he's going to be more fun in season three.
I could only imagine how much fun this is going to be in season three.
It is. I'm looking forward to it. And we have, Tommy Schnoz too, who wrote Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. I mean, he's show running. So, I mean, we now have one of the greatest TV writers, contemporary TV writers of all time on our show. So, yeah, and I've sat down with him and talked to him about what we can do, and I think we're going to do some pretty interesting stuff. Yeah.
And fans of Anne Rice are so loyal to her universe. Do you feel like you have a certain responsibility in this world?
Oh no, really? I've got to take that on too? Oh no. I have to be responsible for Anne Rice's legacy. No, I'm not going there. And plus the fact that they use Anne Rice's work as a template in a way for this, but they veer out of her stories and create their own universe, because they want this show to go on for a while, and Anne Rice's books are pretty limited if they're huge, but in the long run, they're kind of limited. So they want to open this up and go out and make new stories. So I hope that I don't have to carry Anne Rice's legacy around with me for the rest of my life.
It's a heavy weight to
I have
bear.
fun, I want to enjoy the rest of my life. There's only so much left. I'm going to have fun.
That is one thing I always hear about you, and I know from getting to spend time with you all those years ago is I heard you bring a lot of energy to set. That just people love your energy, that you are always having a good time. And I think that's such a special quality that's just unique to you.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think, anytime you choose a profession in your life, you better choose wisely and it better be something you enjoy doing, because time marches on. And I know a lot of people who, chose one profession or another and they just look forward to retirement. And I go, wait a minute, that's like eh, death, So no, and I do, I try to, I'm not really aware that I'm bringing that energy to the set. If I am, I'm glad. But I just try to enjoy myself and try to be as prepared as possible because, if you're working on a film set and you're not prepared, it's no fun. I mean, that can be a nightmare, So, it's all about preparation and it's all about doing the dirty work at home before you get to the set. And if you've done that, by the time you get there, yeah, you can cruise. So,
Okay, so if Portland had a personal cookbook, what would his most shocking recipe be?
I, I'm sure that Cortland loves alligator. And I'll bet he has a really interesting way of cooking the alligator up. I have had crocodile. I've never had alligator, but I had crocodile in Australia. And it's pretty good, actually. And I have a feeling that Cortland, he doesn't have the patience for crawfish. I mean, he's from New Orleans, so there's all these kind of funky things that he could eat down there. Crawfish is not one of them. But I think that if he could get his hands on a nice 6 foot long alligator. He could probably cook that up.
See, again with that, with him at the dinner party. I want to move into in the kitchen with Harry Hamlin. Um, Going back to just the first season of the show, I love how you deliver these stories. And the story that you told about delivering your kids and getting the advice from Chuck Woolery. Um,
I know, weird, huh?
it is what has been, I guess, the most joyous thing about your life that you get to reveal in this show?
Well, look, the most joyous thing about life is children, and a family. So, um, and that's a gift that keeps on giving, by the way. My kids are gone. We have an empty nest here, but their rooms that they grew up in are still here with all the stuff in them, and they come back and they still stay in their rooms and they still hang out. Amelia, particularly, because she doesn't have a place here in LA. If she's working in LA or whatever, she comes back here and she spends, the time in her room and watching her SpongeBob and hanging out and doing. She also is a cook, but then she'll fly to Australia or she'll fly to New Zealand or she'll fly to Tokyo or Bangladesh. Who knows? I mean, she's flying all over the world as a supermodel. So, but the good news is that they like to come home, and we like to hang out with them when they come home.
I love it. It's a whole family affair.
Yeah.
Um, it's very cool and doing it with your niece. I mean, what an awesome experience. I loved how the whole thing started from an episode of The Housewives with you and Lisa, and now we're here.
I know. It's crazy how life works, isn't it? If you just follow, what the universe gives you, and that was a gift that I didn't ask for, the cooking show. But I said yes to it, and it just seems to work if you go down that road.
What was your favorite recipe to cook in season 2?
Oh, what did I cook in season 2? Did I cook we cooked a roast beef one time. We cooked uh
Fish and fried rib, I think.
what looked the best? What looked like it was delicious, I'm sure I'm
You
sure it
know,
was.
you know what looks delicious is your sauce.
Well, the sauce is delicious. In fact, and we've come out with three more sauces now. So, and the second one, the vodka sauce, is off the charts. I mean, it's next level. It beats every single vodka sauce out there like by a mile. So, and yeah, that's an exciting part of our life right now. So we've got this company and we're revving it up right now, and we're going out and investors are investing in it, and it's going to become a thing. So I'm really happy about that. And the fact that Renee, look, we see Renee in the cooking show and she's a chef and all that, but that scratches the surface of who she is. Her expertise, not only in the kitchen, but in the whole food universe is amazing. I mean, what she has accomplished in her life with the kinds of, I mean, these huge companies that Le Pret a Manger and Le Pain Quotidien that she brought to America and then took around the world. And then she worked for Google and ran their entire food operation, which was 60,000 meals a day that she had to curate. And she did it by herself. I mean, she had a team of people that she oversaw, but she was responsible at the end of the day for 60,000 meals. So, I mean, she's got a very, very deep bench when it comes to cooking and everything in the food business. And she runs this company. So I'm very happy about that.
I love it. The sauces are meant to inspire creativity. So it has a meaning behind it, which makes it
Well, and not just that, but we're only putting out stuff that you could make yourself. So we're going to give you the recipe. You can go to the market and get all the stuff, and you can come back and you can cook it. We'll tell you how to cook it, how long to cook it. It'll taste exactly the way I make it on the stove, or you can buy it in the bottle because it's exactly the same. I mean, and there's no chemicals and no preservatives, and it's just exactly what you would have on the stove at home. So that's a very different kind of thing. You don't see that too often. You don't see it at all, in fact.
I really am in love with the show and the guests you've had on. Is there I'm curious which moment from season 2 had you laughing the hardest?
Ah, wow. The good news about that show is that it's just, we don't plan anything on the show, and whatever happens just happens. I mean, Renee does come up with a recipe. She has, she knows what ingredients to put in, stuff like that. But as far as what we say or what we do or how we, conduct ourselves, it's all spontaneous. It's a little bit like, curb your enthusiasm because, we don't have a script or anything. And it's the people who are shooting it are documentarians. You know, they're not people who do reality TV. They're docu people. So that gives it a kind of quality that is, I think, unusual and also funny, can be funny because a lot of the spontaneous moments come out. I can't think of like what now would be the most funniest moment of season 2. I'm sure there were a lot of them. I actually haven't seen season 2 yet, but I'm going to catch up on it as the weeks go by. I'll check it out tonight and then next week too. I saw the first one in an edit, the one with Ben and Kevin, but I haven't seen the other one. So I'm an audience member.
It's so exciting. You get so curious too, as an audience member watching it, because it's filmed in your real kitchen that you wondering like, was there a thing that derailed a scene? Like, were you laughing so hard at some point, or was there like some fun oops behind the scenes moment that didn't make the cut?
Um, well, I mean, Renee is a jokester, in season 1, with Ted Danson and Mary Steenburgen, she in the middle of our dinner, she pulled out a fart machine. Um, okay. So when that was with Ted and Mary, so that was cut. They didn't leave that in, but it was hysterical. I mean, I don't know why they cut it out. I mean, it was we all fart and it's funny and all that, but they decided it was too much for the show, I think. But it was pretty hysterical, I have to say. So she's always doing stuff. I mean, I'll take the lid off of a pan and there'll be like a chicken, a whole chicken with all the feathers on it inside or whatever. I mean, she does weird shit like that. It's like, so yeah, we had a good time.
So fun. Um, and now you just launched a podcast with Lisa. So
Yeah,
this
that's really fun. We're having a great time. And that's another one of those things where Lisa and I arrive at the studio. We don't talk about what we're going to talk about. We have no agenda. We've got no template. We've got nothing. We just sit down and go, okay, what do you want to talk about today? and it seems to work. People like that format somehow. But yeah, we don't put any thought into it at all. So I don't know, but it seems to work. People like it. People, and we're getting tons and tons of downloads, and so and people say you got a hit. So I go, okay, well, okay, I'm not going to complain. You know.
People love it. People love your family so much. I mean, you two both have really rich Hollywood histories. Was there anything that Lisa brought up on the podcast that really shocked you?
I'm sure there is. I mean, I kind of tend to dump it at the end. As soon as the podcast is over, I forget about it. Uh, yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, she will from time to time throw a curveball at me on the show, and I'll have to deal with that. I can't think of any specific one right now, but they happen every time. There's always something in there, and she'll say, "Oh, you're blushing," or "I think I've got your goat," or "I can see your teeth. You're smiling again." Because usually my response is when I hear something that's shocking, I'll smile, and you can see these teeth, which are expensive. So,
As as someone who is an artist, as an actor, as a chef, what do you love most about doing a podcast and this format of storytelling?
that's a good question. I don't know what I love most about the podcasting. It's like it's a whole new thing for me. I'm not a big podcast listener. I've listened to a few in preparation for doing this podcast. I listen to books mainly. I do listen to stuff every day, but I listen to books, and I go for a long walk every day. And but podcasts is not something that I'm really that accustomed to. But what I enjoy about it is that I get to talk to my wife. Here's the thing. So, we've been together for 30 some odd years. We raised two kids in this house. They're doing their thing. We've got an empty nest now. When you're raising kids, I don't know if you have kids or not, but when you're raising kids, that's what you're talking about. You're talking about getting them to school on time, making their lunch right, helping them with their homework, making sure that they've got the right clothes, that they're clean. I mean, there's a million things that you're talking about your kid. So when they leave, what is there to talk about? To have a great conversation with your spouse, sitting around like in the living room, with the dog at your feet or something like that. That just doesn't happen. I mean, we both have agendas. We got lives. I'm living my life. She's living hers. We're going around. And the chance to sit down for an hour once a week and talk and have a conversation, that is like magical. And it's a great gift to have. I mean, yeah, I mean, that's what's fun about it.
You just overall are doing some really amazing things. I also wanted to bring up your clean fusion energy company.
Ah,
Uh
that
yeah, I've
that's been my main focus for the last 40 years. And thank you for bringing it up. We just had a wonderful webinar today that described the entire everything we're doing, which was fantastic. We're on the cusp of a huge breakthrough. Well, actually, we had a huge breakthrough scientifically just within the last couple of weeks. And so we're well on our way. I mean, fusion is hard. It's really hard to take, what's happening in the sun and bring it down to earth and make it happen in a laboratory in a small way, but at the same time create enough electricity to feed the world electricity for the next million years. That's what we're trying to do without any toxicity. I mean, the whole idea is to take us off of fossil fuels, put us onto another regime where we can get all the electricity we need without poisoning the planet at the same time. And all scientists have known forever that fusion is the way we're going to do that. It's just a very difficult nut to crack because, like I said, we're trying to create a tiny, tiny, tiny little sun in a laboratory. And we know we can do it. We know that there's no showstopper in terms of physics and engineering. It's just it takes a long time and a lot of different iterations. And thank God Google has been our partner since 2014. So Google has all the processing power we will ever need to do simulations. And thank God for that, because that puts us way, way ahead of the game with all the other people who are trying to do this. No one else has been doing it since 1998. That's for sure. And it just takes a long time. But anyway, thanks for bringing it up because it's my main passion in life is bring new electricity to the world that doesn't pollute it.
Well, I mean, like I said, I think you're an amazing human, and Lisa's an amazing human, and getting to do this and sit down with you today has been a real pleasure, Harry. It's great to
Oh,
catch
well,
up
I
with
wish
you.
it would go on longer. Yeah, I guess I have another interview in a while, but but anyway, it's great to see you again after all this time, and keep up your good work. And I love your smile. It's just so good. It's so great. Yeah.
Well, Harry, thank you. Oh, such a pleasure. Listen, yes, let's do this again and not wait 10 years next time. Well, next season, we'll reconnect.
Okay, absolutely. I'm all there. I'm all in.
Amazing. Well, have a wonderful rest of your day. We'll talk soon.
I hope so. All right. Take care.